The Paranormal Room.
The Paranormal Room.
Have you ever encountered something you couldn't explain?
Ghosts. Were they strangers or were they family?
Cryptids, alien encounters,
Strange animal encounters. Child spirits.
whatever your experience, we want to hear about it.
Email your story to WLTK-DB paranormalroom@gmail.com for your chance to share your story on the show. Again, that's WLTK-DB paranormalroom@gmail.com.
We're waiting for your story.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Paranormal Room. I'm Christina. This is my handsome co-host Logan. Here we are. You are listening to us on WLTK-DB.com. Let's Talk Radio. And we have a really interesting show coming up for you this evening. So, before we bring him out, because it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Hi, Valentine. This is the third time today I've seen him. Makes me so happy. I just have to say, he just makes my heart so happy. This is so good to see Valentine.
Recurrent viewers are always appreciated.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And he's actually going to be my guest on my show on February 6th. We're going to be in the same space.
Fantastic.
Because he's in upstate New York. So we're going to have some fun. Do you have any announcements that you'd like to make, Logan?
Yes, actually. We just got in our final bit of footage that we needed to start the editing process for our series on The Forest, which is a horror survival series based on a crash landing on a cannibal island.
Oh my gosh.
So yes, it's a VR series too, so it's a lot of weirdness, but a lot of fun.
Wow. Okay, we got a whole lot of people to say hello to.
Yes, hello Courtney, hello Valentine, hello Nikki, hello Det, and hello Robin, and hello Tristan.
And Tristan. Yay! I'm so glad you guys are all with us. Double dose of Christina. I love that. Watch out. You might overdose. All right. So I just want to say
symptoms of that would be.
I don't know. Giddiness. I don't know.
It ends up becoming some horrible Victorian illness where you die with a smile on your face.
Oh my gosh. Here we go. Never overdose, Tristan. Pleasant way to go. I love you guys. Y'all make me so happy. Thank you. I have some quick announcements, but I got a lot of them, so I'm just going to plow right through them.
Get to them.
I have openings for psychic readings between now and February 1st. Lots of openings. Shoot me an email at Christina. Wait, back that up. psychicchristina67@gmail.com. All right. I have a couple of podcasts coming up. I've got one. You can join us on Clubhouse on Thursday mornings at 10 a.m. Central. And anyone can, the movie Smile, Logan. I can't read that right now. It's distracting me. All right. So anyone can come into the Clubhouse room, which is Soulful Sharing Circle, and you can come in and listen, or you can come in and be part of our podcast. We welcome everybody. I know all the weirdos in Wisconsin. I'm sharing you with everyone. We love you, Courtney. Thank you. All right. We have another podcast releasing. The Apps Alchemist podcast is releasing on Saturday. We have one releasing every Saturday. So very, very excited about that. And oops, what did I do? There we go. Okay. So let me see. On the 29th, I will be in Eau Claire at the Soul and Synergy Wellness and Psychic Fair. That is at the Best Western on Mondovi Road. I will be doing the gallery reading at 1:30, but I will also be there doing individual readings all day. Hello, Jessica. Thanks for joining us. my whole room just like moved over. Awesome. You guys are great. Let me see. On February 5th, I will be doing a gallery reading with Anna to Abundance at noon at the Gem Goddess Emporium. Oh, wait, I will be. She said, take me with you. Oh, wait, I will be. But she will not be with me in Plattsburgh, New York, as far as I'm aware. So I will be doing that in Plattsburgh, New York at noon Eastern time. I will be back in Wisconsin at the end of February. So the 18th, I will be at Dale's Weston Lanes in Weston, Wisconsin from 10 to 4 at the Halo Holistic Wellness and Psychic Fair.
Thank you, Tristan.
All right. And then let's see, March 4th and 5th, I'm in Eau Claire again, and I will be working at the Soul and Synergy store. So on that Saturday, the 4th, I am doing a seance at 7 p.m. You can get tickets through Soul and Synergy. And then they are having a marketplace day on Sunday. So I will be there all day doing readings from 10 to 4. All right. I think I've done everything. I think I got everything for now. Wait till April comes. All right. So, one more thing. I did not have everything. One more thing. Relax, girl. I am doing an intuitive you retreat in Sandgate, Vermont at the Enliven Retreat Center. And I'm telling you about this ahead of time because it's more expensive than anything else I'm doing. So if you want information on that, shoot me an email at psychicchristina67 at gmail.com. All right. Are we ready to talk about exorcism?
Are we? Are you? Do you have any more announcements?
No, I'm done with announcements for now.
Okay.
I mean, I could go through the whole year if you want me to, but that could take
I don't think that's necessary, but
absolutely not necessary. Do you have an exorcist theme by any chance?
I mean, with how much I've been coughing during this intro, then yeah, we may need an exorcist, but I don't know. Right now, it feels fairly clear.
You know what? Let's bring Father Ken out.
All right, let's bring Father Ken out. We may need an exorcist, so let's just bring him out.
Hey.
Hey, everyone. Good evening. How are you?
Hey, how's
Welcome
it going?
to the loony bin, my friend.
I love it. I love it. Hey, plain and simple, look at exorcisms. Possessions aren't real. That's it. End of show. All right. Forget what you saw on TV. Oh, my gosh. How's everybody doing tonight?
We're doing really well. And I'm going to bring up a really basic question that you are probably going to just go, are you kidding me? And roll your eyes at. But I'm pretty sure someone's going to ask it at some point. So Father Ken, Valentine says hi.
Hey, what's up, Valentine? I remember him from the Dark Waters Paracon, a lovely individual. I was over with him at Mama Tab's tattoo shop when one of my friends was getting a tattoo. Hey, Robin, how you doing?
Yeah, I met Father Ken and Valentine the same day. So yeah, it was an awesome weekend. We had a great weekend there.
It was a great weekend. It was a wonderful weekend. You know, what I loved about the Paracon, it was just so diverse. You know, there's a lot of different individuals, all different talents, you know, within the paranormal realm, psychics, mediums, Satanists, people who believe, people who don't believe, people who don't like people of the cloth. There was a lot of misconceived notions, I believe, about me. And I was glad that I was able to make some good relationships with many of the people there. So I really enjoyed it. And it was great connecting with you. We had some wonderful conversations.
Yes,
so I'm excited for tonight.
Yeah. I have a picture actually from that Paracon of Father Ken holding a cross up to someone dressed as a devil with a whip in his hand.
Hey.
Her hand. Sorry. Yeah. It really depends which way we go on that one. But yeah, it was a great time. But my question is very, very basic. And you already said possessions aren't real. But what is the difference between needing an exorcism and removing an attachment?
For me, doing an exorcism, I think it's something more deeply rooted. That is when the entity has already taken place over the person's body. And that's when that person is displaying supernatural feats, speaking different languages, knowing things about other people that they shouldn't know, scars on their body, sigils. So by that point in time, when the person is afflicted, as we call them, it's already the possession stage. So that's when we have to go into what you call the rite, either the Roman rite or sometimes you perform a minor ritual, minor rite. The attachment is pretty much, in my opinion, is when the entity is showing itself and it's manifesting itself around you, and it's attached to you. So basically, it's just on your back, spiritually speaking, and you can sense it. Now you can sense that you're not eating, you're not feeling right, things aren't going well, and it's a heavy presence on you. And so we get rid of the attachment by doing whatever prayer. Now, I must say, though, that exorcism is very unique in all around the world. Every culture around the world, every religion around the world has a variant form of possession exorcism rituals, not just inclusive to Christian theology or the ecclesiastical state of what Christians believe. So everywhere you go around the world, demons are specific to that country as well, specific to that person's belief. And what I mean by that is that me as a Catholic priest, I cannot go to a person who believes in and practice Hinduism and try to perform a Christian ritual on them, because they don't identify with that belief system. Neither does that demon, or so to speak, a negative energy. So yeah, that's pretty much a little information, in my opinion, on the difference of both.
Awesome. Logan, do you have questions? Because I've been doing a lot of talking.
I do have questions. Have you ever encountered what I guess I could only describe as a benevolent connection, where maybe it's not necessarily a demon that has made the connection, but it is still doing harm?
Well, I mean, we've had many cases where people have suffered from extreme traumas as a child growing up. And those are underlying issues which they haven't treated. So as they've gotten older, it's like a heavy burden on them. And so that in itself can be a gateway to some sort of attachment or a benevolent spirit. A lot of the underlying feelings and the emotions can cause a lot of adverse spiritual reactions, in my opinion. No, and I'm going to be upfront. I'm not your typical Catholic priest. I'm an independent Catholic priest. My road was different. I grew up Baptist and Pentecostal. I'm a combat veteran. I was in the Marine Corps. And I came to this ministry differently. So, a lot of what I'm going to talk about is just my interpretation of what I believe. And, you don't have to agree with it. You can take it with a grain of salt. But, my theory and my approach is being all inclusive. The important thing is that there's an individual who's suffering. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that that person is helped out the best way that we can. And even if they don't identify with ancient Judeo-Christian belief systems, we always find a way to help that individual without offending them. There are some people that don't have belief systems, and I use what I do with my rituals and my beliefs, but my belief system as a tool to help them out. So yeah.
Okay.
I love that.
Yeah, that was a great answer.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm just waiting for the sound effects. I was promised sound effects.
I'm sorry. I don't have my sound effects ready. This is far more serious than I was prepared for.
Oh my God.
It's all good. Yeah, we're amongst friends. You're amongst friends. You can call me Ken. Everyone else, they'll call me Bishop, Doctor, Father. You can just call me Ken. You know what I mean?
Well, if you want sound effects, here you go.
So I warned him we have sound effects and we have all this other fun, silly stuff. And he's like,
I love it.
Sound effects.
What do you guys know about exorcism? What have you guys been exposed to? What are your thoughts on possession and exorcism?
She said, break out the cough. Sorry.
I don't have to cough right now.
Do you have any experience with exorcism, Logan?
Exorcism itself, no. Attachment and possession, yes.
Oh, can I hear about that story? It's always interesting to hear about other people's experiences, and I like to compare notes. There's always some similarities and commonalities between the afflicted in all cases.
Certainly. Well, as far as I've been able to tell, as far back as I can remember, there has been this sort of not necessarily like an almost silent observer, if we want to call it that, where it feels like almost a secondary perspective where I go, oh, well, this is what's happening. And then an echo from the back goes, are you sure that's what it is? And I don't know if it's psychoses or if it's an attachment or a passenger or something like that. But it has at times been helpful and at times been detrimental.
Yeah. Well, it seems like you have a spirit, like intuitive. We would call that in my belief system the spirit of discernment. Basically, what a psychic would have, feeling certain things, seeing certain things. So you would have what we call discernment, which is a pretty powerful tool to have. I mean, I've worked with many different people that are not of the faith, and they have this remarkable and extraordinary, wonderful gift of being able to tell when there's something wrong. And for me, that's the most important thing. I think, for all intents and purposes, everyone is interested with demonic possession and exorcism, and I caution people on that. Because, you see all the cool things in Hollywood and the special effects and the split pea soup. But what you're not seeing is what's going on at home with the afflicted. They are not eating. They are starving. Right. They are in pain. They are in a constant mental torment. The family is going through hell. Things are disappearing in the house. Things are being tossed across the house. Constant sulfuric smells. Constant mental torture towards confusion. And it's making you delusional in the sense that you think you're going crazy, but that's what the demonic entity does. It has that effect on you.
Which, that is part of why I asked that question earlier about benevolent attachments, is because, like, while I feel that extra sense has helped me at times, it has also been a hindrance at times.
Just be confident in yourself, man. That's what I'd say. When I see you, I can already tell you've got some good positive vibes. You got a good aura, man. So, just go with the flow. Don't, it can be nerving, but at the same time, just go with your gut. I mean, in my opinion and in my experience, your gut never leads you the wrong way. So just embrace those abilities and embrace those gifts. As long as you're out there and you're helping people and you're doing the best you can to make a difference, that's the most important thing. Look, we make mistakes. I've certainly made mistakes. And, sometimes when you question yourself, it can be too late, so don't ever question yourself. Just go for it.
Well, I appreciate that advice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's almost like he's never heard it before.
Yeah, I can't imagine where I would have heard that
from. I don't know. I have no idea where you would have heard that before. Someone just walking in your room.
You've been busy.
No,
all day. I've seen a couple.
I'm staring from my camera into yours.
Are you guys in the same room?
No, we're not. I was facing that way because her camera is that way.
Okay. He's in VR, Logan. Valentine just popped in with that. Yeah, I have, as a professional psychic, I have been called twice actually in the last week to deal with possessions and deep-rooted possessions, and having a more pagan belief system, or I can't even really say I have a belief system. Yeah. There are certain deities, spirits, angels that I work with, and so I just kind of put out a universal call, and I'm like, I need help, guys.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah,
honestly, that's the best way to do it. It's the power of intent, and we all know that. The power of good intention, sending out good vibrational waves. In my opinion, no matter what you believe in, light will always prevail. Simple as that.
Always.
Light will always prevail. Positivity will always prevail.
Yeah.
And I'm not one to try to sit here and preach you a sermon. I'm not that type of priest. My thing is like I respect everyone's belief systems. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to love. And if you're hurt and you're down and you're hungry, I'm going to go starving with you, and I'm going to fight with you to make sure we get some food on the table. Because that's my belief system. That is the message that I try to preach is, instead of me just reading a book and instead of me just saying what you should be doing, I'm going to actually live it out. And I'm going to be an example of what I believe my faith should be.
And that is something I can absolutely respect. There's far too many people who are, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, hypocrisy at its finest.
Yeah.
Even amongst the clergy community. Look, the truth is, there's a lot of famous clergy on Facebook that I'm friends with, and they stay away from me because I tell it how it is. I'm not in for the antics. A lot of them have good experience. They've been doing this for a long time, but after a while, I think it gets commercialized. And,
Yeah.
They are just living off their celebrity status. Now, I'm not here to be a celebrity. I don't care about TV shows. I don't care about money. My thing is if I can sit here and talk to a person and help them out and make sure that they're going to live another day, that's the most important thing to me. There's been times when
Go ahead.
No, I'm just going to drink some water.
Okay. I just wanted to say I'm in the same camp as Valentine, because what he wrote is, let's see, we'll just put it up here. I like to send them home restored. I think of demons as souls who were trapped here on this planet, on this plane. And I do very much the same thing. I make sure that they get taken to the light, that they are, they get to go redeem themselves and get the love that they need. And they're just not allowed to keep hurting this person over here.
Absolutely.
You just need to go to the light. And more I'm working with archangels Michael and Raphael, and they're the ones who are showing up and doing the healing and the separating. And I'm just basically standing back like a sports announcer and doing a play-by-play of what's happening, because I'm me as a human, even with as strong as my spirit is, I have no business going up against something that I know is stronger than me. That's why I ask for help.
Yep.
And I don't mean to make this this too nerdy right now, but that is part of why I really love the anime Bleach. Because the entire premise of it is that this ordinary human gets inducted into this society of soul reapers and is charged with escorting souls to the other side.
Yeah, I think that was on Hulu. I was watching it with my wife. It was a really good show, and there was a beautiful message behind it.
Absolutely.
I mean, the truth is that there's light and darkness in this world, and there are spirits. We call them demonic entities that they fell from grace, so to speak, and they've never encountered love, and that's one of the main reasons why they afflict the human race. Because according to my belief system, we have unconditional love and grace. Mankind, we get the ability to wake up. As nasty and as horrible as we are to each other, with all the war and the famine, we're still allowed to breathe. And that's something that these negative energies don't like, because of the grace of our Creator that He has given us. That's why they try to afflict us. And they also try to afflict the people who are weak. So that's one common thing.
Yeah. There are a couple comments that I want to say. Courtney says, my son's name is Raphael, and I always relate him to that. And Robin said, all of a sudden she's crying, but I'm sorry you're crying, or maybe you're crying because...
Maybe she's crying because I brought up Bleach. I don't know.
Well, I think she's crying because she's probably relating to what Valentine said, but I'm guessing because I'm not tuned into Robin and doing a reading right now.
It's not like you're a psychic, right?
No, right? We ought to find one of those.
Right.
Not like there aren't 3 of them on screen right now. There's your laugh track.
I'm definitely no psychic. That's one thing.
I'm not. I'm going to go ahead and disagree with that, because I've had conversations with you. I've had face-to-face conversations with you, and you are very tuned in. Basically, being psychic is just tuning into other people and being able to feel what they're going through, and the messages come through you automatically, and that's psychic, my friend.
I didn't know that.
I tend to define psychic as any sort of extrasensory sensitivity. Like if you're able to tune into the emotions of others, that's a psychic ability. If you're able to look into the past or future of another, that's a psychic ability.
Yeah.
Well, as human beings, there's one thing that I think that we all lack, and it's not all, but what's lacking in society is compassion.
Absolutely.
We are quick to judge. And I certainly have done it myself. I mean? I'm at guilt. I'm at fault. I'm a human being. Just because I wear a collar doesn't mean that I'm free of mistakes. I make mistakes every day of my life.
But I'd be suspicious if you didn't.
Yeah. But one thing, and I try to, my wife and I, we practice this a lot. It's all about compassion, loving one another and accepting one another. And I think that if we had more compassion towards one another, and if we stop pointing out, well, you're wrong because you believe in this, or you're wrong because you're doing that, I think the world will be a better place. I think the gospel of Christianity has been distorted in such a way that it's hurt so many people. It's hurt so many people, and I'm not for that. I'm a person that I stand for people who have been victimized. I stand for people who have been hurt by the church. I stand for people who have been turned away because they love the same sex, but they can't marry. I'm against that. I'm all about loving people. So if you're one of those people that have been hurt by the church or you've been turned away because you're a homosexual, I don't care. Come to me. I'll marry you guys. I'll throw you the best damn wedding ever. I'll even cook for you. Look at my Facebook pictures. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Compassion and love. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Valentine says, you say what people need to hear. You're approachable. To me, psychic simply means energy of life. You, my friend, do have a psychic gift. And I fully believe I'm right there on the same page.
Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah.
So let's see. I know this is supposed to be about exorcism and possession, but, this all ties in because what we're talking about, about this love and commonality and being respectful towards one another. A lot of people have been victimized or who are afflicted, these are attributes that they've never experienced. Many people have never experienced love, so I've done only 2 documented possession cases, and the commonality that they have were sexual abuse, trauma, and no love. And they turned over into the dark side. And I'm going to say this, and it's not to be offensive. People turn over to the dark arts. They turn over to magic, Wicca, witchcraft, the Ouija board. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But what I do have a problem is the misinformation out there. There's a lot of good people out there who are psychics, who know how to use the Ouija board, who are very talented in this aspect. And if you're going to do these things, you're going to communicate with spirit, make sure that you have a person that is reputable and that can help you through that passage, through that journey when it comes to the supernatural realm. Because what ends up happening is you're looking for a quick fix. You're going through grief, you're going through loss. You want to communicate with your loved ones, but you're in a volatile state of mind. And so you're more than likely not going to be able to find that loved one on the other side because they're still in transition. So that energy is going to manipulate itself into making it believe that it's your loved one, but it's a malevolent spirit. And that's where that entry point is when it comes to demonic possession and infestation and manifestation.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I have experienced that myself, actually.
Yeah. Let's see. We did a possession case 2 years ago of a young woman who was a tattoo artist in Europe. And, she was a tattoo artist. Most of her work was darker in nature. But, she was using drugs. She was doing alcohol. She was doing true satanic rituals, like dark satanic rituals, like killing animals and stuff, whatever. Having sex on grave, desecrating graves, summoning things and conjuring things for whatever reason. She went to a Reiki master, and the Reiki master was trying to help her out. And I think what ended up happening is during that process of her opening up her chakras, something got in because she was kind of in a vulnerable state of mind. So the young girl came under possession. She was 5'1", 120 pounds. She threw her brother across the room. He was 6'3", 280 pounds, Scandinavian Viking. She threw him across the room and broke his arm. She only spoke German. I started talking to her in Spanish. She repeated everything I said to her in Spanish. She read the scripture to me in Spanish. True demonic possession in nature. The Vatican had sent some priests. They got scared. They left. They left her alone. They left her to suffer. So us at the Warren Legacy Foundation for Paranormal Research stepped in because we are a non-denominational organization. So the Warren Legacy Foundation was started in 2014 by Lorraine Warren and her grandson, Chris McKinnell. We are separate from Nesper. Tony Sparrow, he's in charge of the museum in Annabelle, but Lorraine's mission was a worldwide mission. So we have over 100 dedicated professionals worldwide with different gifts and abilities. And our job is to help people face their fears, get that bad information out there about the paranormal, and help people empower themselves. And to let people know that you shouldn't be afraid of the dark. There's no reason to be afraid of the paranormal.
All right. Thank you. I wanted to, I agree. There's no reason to be afraid of the paranormal. I work with the paranormal day in and day out. And, it really comes down to education. It really comes down to being educated to know how to protect yourself, know how to protect the space you're in, know how to protect the people you're with. It's important to be able to, you can't just go running into a haunted place and start yelling at things,
I mean, you can.
It's not a good idea.
But it's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to go explore, just be courteous. It's like I tell people,
Right.
Like in the foundation and myself, I don't do abandoned buildings. That's not my thing. I'm not trying to fall through a third floor and get tetanus and get a rod, stuck in my rib. If you're going to go to these places, make sure that you go well grounded and protected, and you do it with respect. If you're going to go there,
spelunking isn't for everyone.
Yeah, and it's just like, if you're going to do it, just be smart about it and be safe about it. Oftentimes we have a lot of people that try to come into the foundation that they've got a lot of the paranormal exploring experience, and that's a great thing. They're really good, solid investigators. They know the equipment, but they've never worked with families before, and that in itself is a different beast. Because you have to take into consideration the whole mental state, physical evaluation, emotional status. You're dealing with multiple different personalities at the same time, and you're trying to get to the truth. And most of the time, the truth I find out is all psychological. 80% of my cases, I've done over 200 residential investigations, and 80% of them have been psychological. The other percent, unexplainable poltergeists, and people who have psychic abilities and didn't know it. So we try to help them develop their psychic abilities. Yeah.
That one does tend to be a big thing. We do have an ad break coming up, but afterwards we have more stories from our guest, Dr. Ken Torres.
And we have some information to share that's in the comments that we will get to right after the break. And I do want to say hello to Facebook user whose name I can't see, but she has a question, or I'm not sure. It's not said. And then we have some other comments. And I want to say hi to Stephanie, who joined the group. So thank you very much, Stephanie, for joining us. And then we will come back. We'll read some comments. We'll answer some more questions with Father Ken Torres.
Heard a girl scream down here.
Are you kidding me right now?
I'm listening.
Very well. Thank you so much.
Hi, welcome back. You're watching or listening to the Paranormal Room on WLTK-DB.com. I am here with my co-host, Logan Jacobson, and Father Ken Torres. We are talking about possessions. We're talking about belief systems. We're talking about exorcisms. Right now, I really wanted to get to some of the comments that people have been putting in. Let's see. Nikki says she read a really cool quote today on making mistakes and perfection. Now that you're not perfect, you can just be good. I really like that.
That's do really like beautiful.
That. I love that a lot.
Yeah, I really, really like that. Courtney says that her sister has something in her home and she hasn't been the same since. She said she saw something like a long black pointy arms. Do you know what that would be and if it is on the grounds? It's a very old home. Just curious. Are you use your psychic ability, Ken?
So the question was, my sister has something in her home and she hasn't been the same since. Right. She said she saw something. Okay, well, first of all, it would be unethical for me to sit here and give you a diagnosis right away. Right. I would have to know the history of the property. I would have to know the mental state of your sister. Is she in therapy? Has she seen a psychologist? Is she on narcotics? Is she drinking? She's using alcohol? Does she have any underlying issues and trauma? That within itself can actually, bring something. It can attract something. When we're dealing with these types of things, and when you're dealing with, she hasn't been the same since, that kind of leads me to believe that maybe she went through some type of event or experienced something that kind of shook her, and now her psychic walls or her aura or her guard is down, and it could have potentially attracted something to her.
Absolutely.
It could also be the ground. Many of the hauntings that we receive from in the foundation has to do with the law, has to do with the land.
Mm-hmm.
And so to find out the actual proper history of the land, that can give us a better idea of what we're dealing with and what we're working with. If it's ancient Indian burial grounds, if it's an old Amish farm gone wrong, those type of things. So it just all depends. I would just say that, have your sister, seek some counseling first, talk to a local clergy, and if you need to talk to me, you can get a hold of me and I'd be glad to help out.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's see. Lee, who it says Facebook user, but she said further down it's Lee. Christina, what is your favorite way to cleanse your space? I use all different kinds of ways to cleanse my space based on what I have available to me. Sage is always a good go-to. I like sage. You can use any incense really that speaks to you, that you like, that makes you feel calm, that makes you feel comfortable and happy. You can do that. I have, in places where you can't have smoke, I have put distilled water and a few drops of clary sage oil into a spray bottle,
Right.
And use define mist to do a cleansing. You can do it with candles. You can do it with drums. You can do it with singing bowls. You can do it basically anything that makes you feel good. You can do it with.
Right.
You don't actually need anything except intention, is really the way that I feel about it. One of my favorite things is the violet light and the white flame, where I just draw like a line around where the roof and the ceiling and the wall meet, and then where the floor and the wall meet, and just, a violet light and then a row of white flames that kind of looks like like when you light a gas stove or a gas grill, you have the flames. It's really about intention. Some people call in angels. I use Reiki symbols. It really depends on too, like, what is it that you feel is there, and don't just cleanse it and leave it empty. Neutral's fine, but the universe doesn't like a vacuum, so it will fill it with something. So decide what you want it filled with. In my office, when I'm working in my office, I fill it with inspiration. I ask for inspiration. I ask for peace. I ask for calm. I ask for guidance. I ask for love and joy. All of the things that I want to bring into the work that I do, because all the work that I do is for other people, whether it's writing or doing readings or doing shows or lives or whatever. All of it is because I'm doing it for others. And so I want to make sure that what I bring to that is peace and love and joy and wisdom and clarity. And so, once you've cleansed your space, don't just leave it empty, fill it with what you want in there. So that's my answer. Anyone else want to answer that question?
No, that is a good answer, honestly. I kind of almost forgot what the question itself was.
Oh, was favorite way to cleanse space.
Oh. I mean, yeah, sage is always a good one, but I have been trying to steer away from sage myself due to the increasing concern about that particular plant's ecology, because it is becoming endangered.
Yeah.
And so it's very important that if you are going to buy like white sage, like desert sage, then you need to be very aware of where it's coming from. But there are alternate methods of cleansing the space around you, and much like you said, it is very much intention based. It's very much less based on the medium than it is the intention.
Right.
like the sage and all that stuff, they're just tools, you know what I mean? But you have to have that good intention. It's like, make love, have fun, smile, open up the windows, clean your house, play some positive music, go outside in your bare feet on grass for 10 minutes, ground yourself, breathe in that fresh air. All of those things are key and vital to a lovely home. Like all the tools like the sage and all that. I'm sorry to sound repetitious. I mean, yeah, it's great, but that only lasts for so long. You have to put your true intention. Intention is everything. Even
Absolutely.
if you decide you want to go ahead and just do your own little thing, put a little salt with lemon, the intention is behind it. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely. I just put this up there because Valentine's being funny. Sometimes I just want to be reckless too. Hidden powers activate. I love that guy so much. He's so much fun. And Valentine, would you give John a big hug for me, please? Let's see.
I mean, as far as that goes, hidden powers activate. Well, I mean, how else do you expect to become a Marvel superhero?
Exactly.
Well, he says hidden powers activate, and all I can think of that song is Holy Spirit activate. Holy Spirit activate, activate, activate.
I didn't even know that was a song. All right. I like it.
No, I'm Facebook user. I'm not in Wisconsin, unfortunately. I'm from the East Coast, but I live in California. I live in the Bay Area. I get to go surfing all year long.
Hey, there you go.
Wonder Twin power law. There you go. Let's see. Oh, here we go. I want to make sure I don't miss anyone because Courtney says that she feels like it's me, that she can sense it, not see it. Yeah, that is one way to experience intuitive abilities, is to sense it. It's clairsentience. That's what it's called. There's a lot of different ways to sense energy and to sense whatever we can see. Not everybody sees, not everybody hears, but maybe you can sense it. Maybe you can feel it. Maybe
right.
You're cognitive and ideas just pop into your head or words just pop into your head. And I think most people have probably had that experience where something just comes into their head and they're like, well, where did that come from?
Yes.
I think pretty much everybody at some point has had an experience like that. So, or you just get a gut feeling like something doesn't feel right, or you get this gut feeling that I'm going to go home a different way tonight. And then you get home and found out that, there was a car accident or the road was closed for some reason, or, so it's important to listen to those things.
I've actually experienced a couple of those instances myself. And I've met several others who have experienced clairsentience in one manner or another.
Right.
Yeah, actually, a few hours ago, I just got off with a client interview with a gentleman who was experiencing certain things, and he would say certain things, and they would come to fruition. And so he was worried about that. I was like, okay, so we had another psychic on that call, and we're just guiding him and coaching him, and say, hey, there's nothing to worry about. Let's just go ahead and help you develop those psychic abilities.
Right, right, and from my family comes from, my mom was. Well, she's Lutheran, so she's Christian. And, her thing is, if you have abilities, it's because God gave it to you.
Yeah, I agree with that. I believe that wholeheartedly. I think if you have gifts and you have abilities, there's nothing wrong with that. I think they have been given to you by the Creator. And there's a lot of bad information out there amongst other clergy within my belief system that are just spreading hate and disdain. I mean, I think these are gifts from God. And if you're using them to help yourself, to help other people, that's the most important thing. We're all special. We are all uniquely made. You know what I mean? I think we all have wonderful talents and abilities. And it's important that we express that.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So Jessica says, what do you know about the Ouija board? To me, it's people opening doors to negative energies. I'm going to let you answer that before I do.
Ooh, Ouija board. I don't like it. I mean, I have 2 Ouija boards here in my office. They were gifts to me. I don't like it. Most of my cases with demonic possession, manifestation, and infestation have come from the Ouija board. But I also understand that it was used in the wrong way. I think that if used in the right way by a person who's knowledgeable and has experience using it, then it's okay. But for all intents and purposes, I wouldn't recommend it for people who are just looking to mess around and you know, what's that saying? F around and find out. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Not a good idea to use a Ouija board or any tool for that.
Well, it's like even EVPs. It's a form of spirit communication. You know, I think Ouija board, you know, EMF detector, EVPs, you know, like recording. That's all a form of spirit communication. No matter how you look at it, you're still communicating with the spirit. But it's important in how you do it. You know, how you do it, the questions that you ask. You know, I would think for me, for example, if I use the EVP while I'm recording, I'm not going to ask for any names. I don't want to know its name. I'm going to say, hey, this is me, Father Ken. I'm doing an investigation. Whatever's here, I have this device. That's it. Because if there's something malevolent there and you give it a name and it gives you a name, you're going to give it power. We don't want that. You know, we just want to be able to see what's there.
And you don't want to send any kind of invitation.
Yeah. And so if you just leave it open-ended questions by itself. And the thing is, if the spirit's going to communicate, it's going to communicate. And, you know, the faculties of the demonic world, just like faculty is just a fancy word for like the hierarchy, the way they are. They don't operate off the same time-space continuum as we do. So you can make a communication today and have nothing go wrong. 20 years down the road, something bad really happens because that demonic entity was there the whole time, but it just chose to manifest itself later on, not within your time frame.
That makes sense. I'm pretty neutral about Ouija boards. My problem with Ouija boards is that they're sold at toy stores.
Yes.
That's my biggest problem with Ouija boards. They're sold as toys, and they are not toys. They're tools.
No.
You know?
And that's the problem I have.
Yeah.
Like you. You can be 21 to drink. You got to be 21 to drink, but you can be 12 years old and summon a ghost.
Right.
Exactly.
Spirit.
Or younger even.
See, that's why for anyone wanting to buy those Luigi boards I was talking about making.
Yeah.
I will be putting in a sort of fail-safe to make them neutral and useless in that sort of sense.
Gotcha.
So it's entirely a novelty item. It's not at all usable.
Good. Because people get a hold of tools they don't know how to use.
Yeah.
And like you said, EVPs too, you know, if people don't know what to do with that information or don't know how to handle the tools that they're using and don't, you know, first of all, protect themselves. You know, I would never think to go on an investigation without surrounding myself in what I call a trailer hitch. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's white light that is reflective on the outside. So energy coming at me reflects back to where it came from. That's my way of doing it.
Well, just like what I've seen, and I don't mean to cut anybody off. Like, for example, I've seen these amateur investigators. They take these people on tours, right? And you have a person that's not grounded, that's not protected, and they quickly put them in the Estes method. I'm like, are you serious?
That all about?
Why are you putting someone with no experience, with no grounding, in a sensory deprivation mode, and you are killing all their senses? You're depriving them, and you're trying to make them communicate with these spirits. I think the Estes method is highly dangerous for people who have no experience, but that's just my opinion.
See, I kind of wish you were with us during our Phasmophobia video.
My wife used to play that, and a couple of things happened. And I go, you know, this is my office. You know what I mean? I was like, we don't do that stuff here. So she stopped playing.
Yeah, Jessica had said that her problem with the Ouija board was that she saw it in kids' toy stores. You know, she saw it in stores for kids. And that really is my problem with it, because I have one. It's a glow-in-the-dark Ouija board, for heaven's sakes. You know, I mean, I doubt that there's any real power in it, but there's no instructions on how to set a space. There's no instructions on how to protect yourself. There's no instructions on how to use white light to wrap around yourself. There's no instructions on how to call in helpful spirit.
It doesn't even come with salt.
Yeah.
I know, right? So, you know, it's not that I have a problem with Ouija boards. I don't. I have a problem that they're not they're getting into the hands of the wrong people and
Right.
people who don't have the experience to use them. That is my issue with Ouija boards.
Combined with teenage hormones, depression, anxiety, traumatic events.
Oh yeah, that too.
Being high and stuff like that. That's an open invitation for a possession to happen.
Honestly, teenage hormones would be enough on their own.
Yeah.
Without anything else added into it. Yeah.
Like, you don't need any extra help at that point. There's plenty of chemical energy there already.
Yeah. All right. Here's a question for you, Ken. If you're going into a place where there might be evil, what is your suggestions on protection tools?
If you're going to a place where there might be evil, my first question is, why are you going to a place that?
Oh, he's a paranormal investigator.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, but that would still be my first. But that would be my first question.
Why is an important question?
Yeah, and that's a very that's a very valid answer. As a paranormal investigator, when you're going to a place that has evil, how to protect yourself? It's based upon what your belief system is. It's based upon what you know, what you feel to be true. What truth is subjective to you, and the ways you protect yourself. White light. I use Palo Santo. I use holy water. I use holy oil. I use Florida water. I say a prayer of protection for my team and everyone else around me. And I tell people, if you don't believe in what I believe in, it's all about the power of intent. And it's not just saying it. You have to believe what you're saying. The problem is that we've created this false facade of teachings and protection methods and all of these tools, but people don't believe in what they're saying. So it's just this false wall of hope. You know what I mean? So you really have to believe in what you're saying. All of these tools and all these equipment that you use, protection, sage, all that stuff is not going to work if you don't believe in what you're saying. Yeah. Just like a lot of cradle Christians that I know, and they know the Bible, they know the scripture, but most of them don't believe in it. And so when they're trying to fight a demon or an entity, they say all of these words, but you have to have authority. We call it spiritual authority. You have to have a supernatural authority behind you, and entities know if you have a supernatural authority behind you, whether it be from God, whether it be from Allah, whether it be from whatever God you worship. They understand spiritual hierarchy. They operate in a hierarchy. So they understand spiritual authority. If you're going in there with no authority at all spiritually, that is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
There's an old saying, I can't remember what tribe it's from, but it's speak as if you were stone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that whole idea of I am immovable and this is what I am saying.
No.
Mike also added in overhyped Hollywood novelties. That's another thing where.
Also, yes.
I mean,
Hollywood has really messed us up with that sort of thing.
I mean, every movie, I was looking through Shudder, Scream Flicks, all of these different flicks today, to try to get some material on what for tonight's topic. You know what I mean? And I was kind of using it as a tool to show an example that there are so many movies out there on Ouija boards and demonic possession. It is crazy, and a lot of it, some of these things can happen, but also at the same time, some of these things might not happen. But why would you want to take that risk? Don't take that risk.
I personally think if you ever want to discourage someone from using a Ouija board, you wait until they start using it and then you hit the breaker for their room.
Yeah. That would work.
That could work, yeah.
They will never even look at a Ouija board again.
or I've got one. You can actually do what happened on one of our cases that we have documented from one of our clients. They were recording themselves doing the Ouija board, and they were tossed back 30 feet against the wall. Boom.
Being yeeted against a wall will also do it, but I'd rather do it with less broken ribs.
Yeah.
Okay,
so run and find out.
Valentine listed black crystals, obsidian, black tourmaline, shungite, etc. Those are really great for grounding. What else do you use them for? And I'm a big fan of hematite. I got a big old one. Where's my camera here? Big old hematite on my desk right here. And my grandson runs off with it a lot. I think he needs some grounding or something, but
he absolutely needs grounding.
I completely misread Valentine's message. I thought he said Suge Knight. I go, wow, okay. If you got Suge Knight protecting you, you're good. I am. I was like, Suge Knight? Well, you know him? Okay, then you're definitely protected.
Shungite.
Shungite. Wow, I misread that. I thought you said Suge Knight.
I invoke the name of Suge Knight.
Suge Knight.
You're good, Valentine.
Nobody's going to mess with you then.
All right.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. I'm just going through. I want to make sure we don't miss anything.
I'm going to be remembering that quote from this video.
Yeah.
No lie. I used to call it Suge Knight. I liked it.
Ellie says Santa bought me a Ouija board when I was 8. I still have it.
That was nice of good old Saint Nick.
I mean,
right?
It's strange of Saint Nick to promote witchcraft like that, but all right.
It's not witchcraft. Come on.
It's one of the world's most oldest belief systems, and I think it's beautiful in its sense. There's a lot of bad misconceptions about Wicca and witchcraft.
Absolutely,
it sucks. It pisses me off because I'm like no. You see all these stupid Hollywood movies, witchcraft, this and that. I mean, and you can kind of blame the craft for that as well too. It's a very vital movie for provoking and invoking, teenage hormones and negative and positive energy and invoking man.
Despite that, I do still appreciate the Hocus Pocus movie.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah. Valentine says, how else are we going to see Santa?
You got to call him in.
Yeah. And TJ says tiger's eye or protection, also tourmaline.
Yeah.
All
very good for protection.
Yeah. I'll get back to Tristan, but this is Courtney's comment. That's why we have lost all our powers, all the distractions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we can just sit back and focus and try to be one with nature and creator, I think our abilities will come back. Mm-hmm. And for me, the abilities are not so much supernatural. It's the humanism. We forgot to be humans, and if we could just sit back and take a breath and just focus on all of divine beauty that's been created around us and respect one another, I think our power is love. I think love is one of the greatest powers. Absolutely. That can supersede anything else.
I mean, the mere term supernatural implies that it is outside of the natural order.
Yeah.
Which I don't agree with. I believe that these are very natural abilities, but we've become so estranged from them. They seem otherworldly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like for me, love, compassion is one of those things that I don't really see anymore. The paranormal realm for me is a natural realm. I deal with it every day. And to me, it's just a normal day life. Now it's the human aspect of it, the human side of things, the animosity, the negativity. Yeah, that's the stuff that really scares me.
Agreed. Going back to the previous conversation, Jessica had said, yes, just like Ghost Hunters, the show, they are guys that are not grounded in the way they yell at ghosts. Yeah, that just bothers me. Stop poking at the spirit.
Yeah.
Leave them alone. They're fine.
That's kind of what I was doing on the Phasmophobia video.
But we can thank these shows because these shows have given us, a really good look into, what as paranormal investigators, what we should be doing and what we shouldn't be doing. It's all entertainment, but the reality is that, there are people that are dealing with these types of effects and they're afraid. And it's our job to go in there and to try to help them out, put their mind more at ease, not make them more scared. The issue that I have is, as a team, I go in with the intent of I'm going to help you. I'm there to help the living and the deceased. I'm not going to go in and just gather evidence and say, okay, cool, this is what you've got. No, I'm going to see it through with you, and I'm going to try to give you a solution to help you out. The explorers, so to speak, or the people, the amateurs, they just go in and they'll stir stuff up. And not all of them. There's some really good teams out there that just capture good evidence, and that's it. That's all they're there for. But the ones who have the bad intentions or just not educated enough, they stir stuff up and they'll let the client know, this is what we've got. Yeah, you got something pretty bad here. Bye, I'm out. Not going to help you. You're screwed.
Right.
I don't do that. We don't do that.
Yeah, I don't do that either. I don't do that either. Tristan wanted to share a story. I had one. He's talking about boards, Ouija boards. Yeah, I had one around 12 and played with a Ouija, and I was lucky nothing came through that I knew of. Funny story, my brother-in-law a few years later saw something in the same place where I played with the Ouija board. I don't know what something is, but okay.
Experiences may vary, you know.
Yeah, experiences may vary.
Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And really those shows like Law, she calls herself Law, it's her initials. What not to do basically is what those shows teach us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know, because I'm just like, seriously.
I call them Heyoka shows.
Yeah.
Like I'm friends with, you know, I've got mutual friends with some of these guys, ghost hunters and all that stuff. And, you know, for what it's worth, you know, I think for the most part as people, they're decent human beings, but you know, the way they do the investigation, you know, I wouldn't do it that way. And, you know, that's just my opinion. And not to badmouth anybody, but I don't like the way they do things. But they're good people overall, most of them, except for one that I heard is a real jerk from that show. Yeah.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's okay. We don't need to call anybody out on the air.
Yeah, no,
we don't do that. We don't do that.
That's not what we do here.
We're not going to do that. Yeah.
No.
I just really want to give a shout out to our chat room because these guys are amazing. They show up every week. They're supporting us. They're involved in the conversations, and I just so much appreciate the intelligence that they bring to all of the shows. We do have permission from Mike to keep going if we want to.
I'm okay. I'm good.
You good?
I've got another 20, 30 minutes.
All right.
All right. Logan, did you have a question, comment? Because you started talking.
No, I was just commenting that we have gone over time, but if the chat's here for it and we're here for it, then we're going to continue.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a couple. Let's go. I love you guys. We love you too, Courtney and Nikki and everybody. I'm going to go through and say all the names if I have to. TJ, Tristan, Valentine.
Facebook user.
Ellie, Facebook user. Lee. That's Lee.
Well, you know,
Jessica and Robin. Go ahead, Ken. I keep cutting you off.
No, it's all right. No, it's cool. So just so you know, I don't think you realize, but during the Paracon, I actually did a minor exorcism on an individual.
You did?
There was a gentleman that came up to my booth with Joe Frankie. Joe Frankie is one of the original members of the foundation. He worked with Ed and Lorraine Warren for over 35 years. He's one of their original students. So this gentleman came up with his friend, and he was walking toward the booth, and I saw when he saw me, the eye contact, it wasn't really pretty. You know, he kind of like fringed a little bit, and he saw me, and he walked away, and he came back, and, you know, he came up to me, and I said, "Hey, how are you doing? What's going on?" And he said, and excuse the French, I don't know if we can say bad words on here. He said, "I don't effing like you. I want to effing kill you. Die, priest." Okay. And I said, "Come here, man." I go, "Let's talk. What's going on?" At that time, I felt that there was a supernatural presence there. And so what I did is I gave him a rosary. I said, "Hey, do me a favor. You know, hold this rosary for a minute." And as soon as he held it, he let it go. His hands were extremely hot. The rest of his body was cold, but inside his hands were hot. And so his friend was there, and he was like, "Yeah, you know, it's a good thing that you guys are here because I heard you were going to be here, but I didn't tell my friend." He's been experiencing a lot of things. He's been dabbling a lot with, you know, and you know, and this is the thing that gets me, you know. He's been invocating pagan Norse gods for evil doings and all of these different deities because he went through a lot of traumatic events and underlying issues. So anyway, yeah, you know, it was 30 minutes before my lecture, and Joe Frank and I were like, you know, this guy needs help. You know, his eyes actually turned white right in front of us. They rolled to the back of his head. He started foaming at the mouth a little bit. So we asked Frankie Frank, or was it, oh my gosh, the young lady that was in charge of the Paracon? Shelby. Oh, Shelby, yes. Yeah. I said, "Hey, Shelby, we need a private room for a minute." And so we did use the private room in the front by the entrance. And so I didn't know that Joe Frankie actually had a rosary in his hand. All right. So this is what you do. If you are really dealing with a demonic situation, and you are involved in a demonic exorcism or a deliverance, so to speak, a true way to find out if there really is a demonic influence, have a rosary or a crucifix in your hands and don't tell anybody and don't let anybody see it. When we went into that room with this friend and this young man, we had the gentleman sit down. As soon as Joe Frankie put his hand on the gentleman's back, he went flipping crazy. He started talking. He started foaming at the mouth. His eyes actually turned black. I was putting holy water on him, and he was getting scratch marks across his face, and he had welts coming out of his body. So we did a minor rite of deliverance, and so it worked out. You know, the entity showed itself, and we were able to expel it for that time being. But, you know, that's a tool. That's a secret thing. Like, you know, don't tell anybody that you have holy water, or don't tell anybody that you have a rosary. You know, if a person is truly afflicted or possessed by a demon, they will have an adverse reaction to these things, even if they don't know you have it, because it's a sacred and a blessed object. And so, but the truth is that this gentleman had underlying issues with his family, a lot of extreme family abuse, sexual abuse, and he never spoke about it. It was just all pent up. And what he was looking for was a way out of retaliation. He wanted to retaliate against his family for all the things that they've done to him. You know?
That feeling of helplessness can invoke a lot of hatred and sadness and despair, and that is a beacon. That is an absolute beacon for anything that feeds on that.
Yeah,
that's true. You know, there's a lot of people out there, a lot of clergy that are like, well, you know, if you believe in God, you don't need to see a counselor. No, that's not true. Just because you're of the faith doesn't mean that you should neglect your mental health. There are mental health professionals out there that are there to help you, that are trained specifically. You know, I view mental health professionals as angels, as doctors, people who have given the gift of light to help you understand your underlying feelings and emotions. So if you've ever been taught that because you're a Christian, you shouldn't see a counselor, that is wrong. And shame on the people who put that in your head, because now we have many people who have a lot of underlying and traumatic issues and unresolved issues because a man on a pulpit said that if you go see a counselor, you're evil or you're dumb. No, that doesn't fly with me.
And I appreciate that you brought that up. I really do, because a lot of my friends have that sort of mentality where because they have faith, they don't need any help from any mortal man. And I'm like, that's absolutely not what that book says.
Yeah, that's not what that is. So let me tell you how faith works. It's a story. It's actually a Spanish saying, but I'm going to say it in English, and I think it's kind of universal across the world. So there was a guy. His house was getting flooded. It was a big flood, and he was standing on the roof of his house, and he's like, God, I need your help. Help me. A boat comes by. And the guy's like, get on the boat. You know, you're going to drown. The guy's like, no, I got faith in God. He's going to help me. A helicopter comes by. Hey, we're going to get you. Your house is going under. You know what I mean? No, I got faith in God. He's going to save me. Finally, the boat comes back. Hey, dude, you're like literally 2 feet away from drowning. No, I have faith. God's going to help me. Guy dies. He enters the gates of St. Peter. He goes, God, I had faith in you. Where were you? You're my boy. You're supposed to help me. And he goes, bro, I sent you 2 boats in a helicopter to the back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? That's how faith works. It's like I tell, and like, there's people that are like, I have faith. So I have faith nothing's going to happen to me. Really? Really? You know how many TikTok investigators I see that get hurt, that get tossed? Well, because I have faith in God. Just because you have a faith in a belief system doesn't mean that you're not going to get hurt. Doesn't mean that these supernatural entities cannot affect you. They can, and they will. Okay.
It also does not protect you from stupidity.
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
It really does
not.
Okay.
We had Ken's email up here for anyone who wanted to get it. I hope that, you know, whoever needed it wrote it down. It was K Torres at warrenlegacy.com. Yeah. So for anyone who wanted to speak with Courtney, I strongly suggest you get in touch with Ken. So let's see. Reminds me of that short film. Courtney took a screenshot. Good job, Courtney. Valentine said, "Whew, sexual assault is real. I battled years with accepting what happened and then hearing from pastors that I was bound for hell for sleeping with a man." And that just never made sense to me. Seriously, God is love. I don't understand that. Whatever God you believe in, I mean, if it's love, it's love. It doesn't matter, but sexual
Valentine,
assault, not okay.
Valentine, I want to say that I'm sorry that you've gone through that. I'm sorry that
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sorry
right.
that you've gone through that because that's not right. You are loved. You are a special person. You are loved in the eyes of God. And the fact that you were taught that, I hate that. If you ever want to talk, man, I'm here. And I'm sorry that you've gone through that pain. And it's not right. And that's what I stand for. I stand for people who have been victimized by the church because that's bullshit. Excuse the French. I'm a street priest. I tell you how it is. I'm a combat veteran. I'll hit you with some tough love. And Christina knows this. I'm very accepting. I'm very loving. But what I don't accept is ignorance from people that are supposed to be faith leaders, people who are supposed to nurture and mold people into something special based upon the faith systems of Christianity. And I'm sorry that you've gone through that. That is not right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I completely agree. The Creator loves all. You're absolutely right, Courtney.
Not only that, though, biblical interpretation, because I studied hermeneutics. That's one of the things. Going to seminary school, getting my doctorate program, hermeneutics is biblical interpretation. Biblical interpretation is really what it is, and most of the time, what the Bible says, is it's misinterpreted. The original translation was, "Man shall not lay with boy." So that an older man cannot lay with a young boy. You know what I mean? Now, when we talk about the perversions of the Bible, the sexuality, the Sodom and Gomorrah, that's a whole different thing. There was a lot of different things, perversion, so to speak, according to the Bible. But the unfortunate part is that even then, there's still a bad reputation and there's still a bad message being sent from that.
Right.
It's basically saying that if you're a bad person, that these things are going to happen to you. But what is bad? What is bad? How do you define bad? You know what I mean? It's all subjective. Your truth is subjective to you.
Yeah.
Bad
It's
is
all
a
very
person who
rough and
leads you astray.
subjective
Yeah,
and subject to the translations of the time.
exactly. And a lot of that stuff, a lot of those biblical passages and scriptures were interpreted for that time. Those were messages from that time. So the Old Testament, we know about the Old Testament, and we know that was the Old Covenant. But when Jesus Christ came, we were no longer under any law. We were under the law of love. Just like Jesus Christ said to the Pharisees, you can sit here and read the Torah and the Scripture. You can repeat every biblical verse that there is, but amongst all things, you have forgotten everything. The truest commandment is love. You have abandoned everything. You have forgotten how to love. So you can know all of these wonderful, fancy technical terms, and even though as a doctor I struggle with it, because check this out: I am a disabled veteran. I have suffered traumatic injuries. I have concussions. And I tell people, don't let your disabilities disable you. Don't let your disabilities disable you. And sometimes, I come across and I stutter, and I may not sound as so eloquent as a fine, fancy Jordan Peterson, but I give it to you the truth, how it is. And the truth is that people have been hurt. And these are things that can lead into the stages that lead into early demonic possession, manifestation, and oppression.
Valentine also wants to say thank you. No hard feelings anymore. I shared because I understand the person's reason to reach out for help from spiritual entities.
Val, you're such an inspiration, man. You are a delight. You are a breath of fresh air. Being around you, man, I'll be honest, man. When I was standing around you, I couldn't stand being around you in the sense because you had so much positive energy. It was so illuminating being around you. And that was the truth. There was so much love coming from him.
Yeah. Oh, I completely agree. Like, he just beams love in every direction. He's amazing.
Yeah.
Jessica wants to know, do you believe Jesus went to Japan and other places?
Yeah, I mean, I believe he went to other places, but it's kind of hard to tell. We don't really have any biblical, evidence supporting that. I believe that he was maybe he was hanging out in heaven, maybe he was hanging out by the sea. I don't know. I couldn't give you that answer.
Well, I mean,
but
really,
in a
the only
sense,
stories we have are from the Middle East region.
yeah, yeah. But in a sense, I believe Jesus went to Japan and other places just by the word of the disciples that have spread. So in that sense, yeah, Jesus went to those other places, because of the discipleship, for love. And that's one of the things, that kills me is that, the discipleship with Jesus Christ was always about love and loving one another and accepting one another. And so these scriptures and these verses were written in a way to educate people and get them to understand that, our God, our creator is love. But a lot of atrocities have been committed in the name of Christianity. So sometimes it's kind of hard to convey that.
Yeah. And I want to, first of all, Lee says, thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. You can thank the family members of those who never came back.
Yeah, exactly. Courtney says, different abilities. My son is living proof you can beat the odds. Diagnosed nonverbal autism, low functioning. But boy, he sure does function now, just differently. I love that.
I love that. I love that. And, interesting, one thing I've come across many cases, a lot of our cases with the supernatural that involve children, they're on the spectrum. So there's been a study that's been done that kids who are on the spectrum actually have some supernatural abilities and psychic abilities, and they can actually communicate with spirits. And it's pretty interesting. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
it is.
It does seem to be more common amongst the neuroatypical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. She said, yes, he's so intuitive. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. This has been such a great show. Ken, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your knowledge and your love and your wisdom with all of us. And, I would have probably stuck with the church if there were more people like you in it.
I appreciate it. But the church is what you make of it. I mean,
It is.
you surround yourself with a good body of people who love one another. It says in his word that where two or more are gathered, my presence is there. Obviously people will go to church. The idea to go to church is to be in that like-mind mentality of being in community, like the holy, the Holy Trinity, right? They all need each other. And the idea to go to church is that, to be there, to worship, to love one another, not to enrich pastors, to be more richer than the congregation, not to cast hate and judgment, but where two or more gather, that's where my presence is. And it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what you believe in. If you're struggling with your faith, just know that God loves you, the Creator loves you, and there is love out there. Just reach out to it. Just reach out, set your intentions out there, and just be positive. Don't let your situations define who you are. Don't let your trauma define who you are. Be kind. We are people in process.
We are. We absolutely are. Thank you so much. And, we're probably going to have you on again sometime.
That's fine.
Very
yeah,
likely.
I used to have a radio show, Enter the Dark, but it was on Paranormal King Radio, but we had to cancel it because we closed down the radio. And that was one of the things that we would talk about is like ethics and love and doing things a certain way. So, my goal is just to try to educate people and just to show them love and, being kind.
And I think if more people had that outlook, I think that there would be a lot less issues with religion as a whole.
Yeah.
Religion is flawed, and there's over 3,000 religions in the world, and my truth is subjective to myself.
Right.
I don't believe that if you don't believe in my God, you're going to go to hell. That is so stupid.
Thank you.
Oh my
Thank
God.
you.
It's like, really?
Yeah, right there with you. And thank you again so much. I just want to read some of these comments before we go because there is so much love here.
Absolutely.
I am just loving it. Great show, everyone. Thank you for what you do. And thank you, Christina, for the lives. You're welcome. I've done this is my third one today. Thank you for this show tonight. That was a good way to put it. Good job. Amen. Totally. Father Ken, this was great. Love your refreshing point of view. Just meeting at one level together. These lives go by so fast. I know, like, where did the last hour and 20 minutes go, right?
Seriously.
Nikki says 100% right, Logan. We're just not keeping up. So we're right on track with Christina pacing the way for us all. Boy, oh boy, that's no pressure. All right. I was bitter towards Christianity for a while. I'm glad I'm back to being open-minded. I had to heal that hatred. Yeah, and I think a lot of people have needed to heal that hatred and those wounds that have been caused.
There's been a lot of wounds over a lot of years.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I do. I do spiritual abuse counseling, and I try to help people understand the difference between church legalism and a real relationship with your creator.
Right.
Legalism is essentially what you're being told to do. Don't question it, and that's not right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Huge difference. Yeah. Oh, I'm paving the way, not pacing the way. Paving the way is so much less.
Well, yeah, C and V, they're right next to each other.
Right next to each other on the keyboard. I know. That part. I was a questioner. I was a questioner too. I was actually kicked out of catechism class because I wouldn't stop asking questions.
Well, that's the way it be sometimes.
Yeah.
I can definitely relate to that.
Well, one last story before we head off. Growing up, basically, my grandmother and I, we grew up. One side of my family, my grandmother from my mother's side was a high priestess in Santeria, Caribbean practice. So I know a lot about Santeria and the Caribbean practice. And then from my father's side, Catholic, and then she became Christian Pentecostal. I remember that at a young age, I couldn't go out to school events. I couldn't do this. I had to wear that. I had to kneel in rice and pray for 2 hours a day. And if I wasn't praying and reading the Bible, the pastor would put me in the front and embarrass me. And I had to sit up there on discipline for 6 months. That is not how you do things. So even then, I had some resentment and hatred. But, I don't blame the individual. At that time, they thought that's what they were doing was right. And that's what they felt was right. Obviously, it was wrong. But, sometimes people's ignorance, you can't correct them.
Right.
Yeah.
If someone's set in their ways, there's only so much you can put in front of them before you got to walk away.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, Ken, thank you again so much for coming on the show and sharing the love and the light, and just your perspective really is so refreshing, and I so much appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I honestly, I'm deeply overwhelmed and humbled because you're like a world famous psychic, compared to like you, like I'm nobody, you know what I mean? Like even to be in your presence and to be invited into this show, like I feel like I'm inadequate, and I feel inadequate in front of you, Logan, as well. I just try to be a humble servant, and to be here with you amongst greatness, it means a lot to me.
Well, I feel the same about you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Wow, this has been a great show and a good night. Gina Gets Scared was very educational tonight.
She was Gina Get Scared. Gina. You got to put New York
Gina Get Scared. Yeah.
Gina Get Scared. You know what I'm saying?
You talk like you've been there, Ken.
I was born and raised in New York my whole life. New York and New Jersey. But then the Marine Corps brought me out to the West Coast.
Yeah, you know what? That makes sense. That Santeria is a big thing out that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. All right. What do we have on tap for next week, Logan?
That is a great question.
You know what? I'm going to look at my calendar and I'm going to find out.
I've been slacking very heavily on that part because I've just been kind of trying to keep my life in order, and it has not been working.
Okay. Oh, hi, Laura. Thanks for being here.
Hey.
I didn't even know you were here, but thank you. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Did you finish my audio?
Crap. I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah. Courtney's like, did you finish your mom's audio? Part 2. Next week, we have paranormal investigator, author, and station owner, Todd Bates. Todd is going to be our guest next week. I know, that's going to be so much fun. Yeah, if you guys, make sure if you want to have fun, be here next week. That goes for you too, Ken, because we're going to cut it up the whole time.
Yeah, I'd love to come back whenever you want me. I mean,
That
if
sounds
you need
awesome.
yeah, there we go. I like it. Yeah, yeah, I'd love to come back. Just let me know when.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Are you going to be at Dark Waters again this year?
Yes, I will
Me
be at Dark
too.
Waters. I'm going to be doing the Hinsdale House in upstate New York. I'm going to be at the USS Salem July 1st doing a charitable event for the Homeless Veterans Association of America. And so if you're out on the East Coast, July 1st, USS Salem. It's a charitable event. All the proceeds go to the homeless veterans.
Very
Awesome.
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I will be spending 7 to 8 weeks in New York this year through October and November.
Oh, okay. Well, my dad lives back in Manhattan in the Lower East Side, so I might go out and visit him too. I got a medical procedure coming up at the end of the summer, so that's going to limit, but I plan on going to Colombia to meet my friend and potentially work on an actual possession case with another clergy brother of mine.
Okay. Lee said you can always come back as a random Facebook user. All right. We're going to cut you loose here, Ken, but thank you again so much. And I look forward to seeing you again.
Likewise. Have a good night. I've got to tuck in my dogs. They have their own little
right.
room, so I got to feed them some snacks. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
May you all be filled with love, light, blessings, and abundance.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. This has been such a great show.
Absolutely. Like,
Such a
honestly,
great show.
that
I knew
hour
you-
and a half just flew by.
I know. I knew you would like Ken. Yep. Random Facebook user is our hero. I love it. All right, Mike, feel free to take us out. Good night, everyone, and much love to you.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.